I just hate losing to Manchester United. Can't stand it. And this 2-1 loss at Old Trafford this weekend was as frustrating as any I have ever seen. Now, I am a big Maresca supporter for the most part. I think he's done a very good job with this young team. I do like a lot of the changes he makes from game to game based on the opponents we're playing. And at times he's done some good things in games to change the pattern of a match. But here, I think he absolutely blew it in key moments with key tactical and personnel decisions. So, welcome to the Chelsea Campfire. I'm Sebastian North. Let's break down the Manchester United versus Chelsea debacle. All right, so we start with the big moment at the beginning of the match. Bindier clears it, and as the ball is coming down, you see that Chalobah is going up against Sesko with it. Now, Sesko is a big guy. He's bigger than Chalobah. So the odds are he might win this ball, and Enzo Maresca did say that they talked about this before the match. Two problems. Moises Caicedo is not deep enough to actually cover Bryan Mbeumo if Mbeumo gets in behind, and Wesley Fofana is about 5 or 6 yards out of position. He needs to be deeper. Sesko wins the header, so Mbeumo gets in. Now, Sanchez, inside his penalty area. He does not need to do anything. Matter of fact, he should just make himself big and say, go ahead, Mbeumo, try and chip me. And if Mbeumo takes another touch, because the conditions are bad, he might mess up, and then you can maybe make a play at it. Instead, Sanchez is like, no, I can definitely get to this one first. And Mbeumo slows down to bring him in, and Sanchez just completely takes him out. This is ridiculous. It is a very poor decision, but it's also a big mistake from multiple parties. So we have to be fair about that for Sanchez. But now it puts Chelsea a man down 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. Okay, so at this point, Maresca has a very difficult choice on his hands. First, he obviously has to put in his backup goalkeeper, Jorgensen, but then he's got to sacrifice one player, and he decides on Estevao. Now, I don't think there's much of a problem with this decision because he's 18 years old, first time experiencing that Manchester reign, and he's a wide player, so he's not necessarily that important to the picture. So at that point, Maresca could have done that and left things as is. Now, he was thinking he needed someone to cover on the left, and so in that case, he decided, I'm going to go and match Man United's formation. So he decides to burn a substitution by putting on Tosin and taking off Pedro Neto. You have now taken off both of your wide players 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, and your fastest players as well. So immediately when I saw that, I was like, well, I don't know how we're going to attack at this point at all. And the way Man U are starting with the way they're pressing, I don't even know how we're going to get a hold of the ball. So that was Maresca's first major error. Again, I don't think he needed to make an extra substitution. And if he wanted to change the shape, he could have actually done that without taking anyone off. He could have gone Chalobah, Fofana, and James as the back three with Cucurella on one side, Pedro Neto on the other. You keep your midfield three of Palmer, Fernandes, and Caicedo, and then you have Joao Pedro up front on his own. That would have worked out just fine. And the hope really was that Man United wouldn't capitalize on this pressure, but Caicedo tries to hit a ball out. It hits Ahmad, bounces around. Chalobah and Mbeumo are challenging for the ball, but it gets to Ahmad, who's able to spread it wide to Mazraoui. Now, as the ball goes out here, Mazraoui is running away from goal. So Cucurella, I think, should go as tight to him as possible. Just make sure that he can't just whip the ball in, but he just allows Mazraoui too much time. He gets the cross in. Dorgu's at the back post wide open, heads it down. Bruno Fernandes is there first. He's onside, and it's 1-0 to Man United. Now, the strange thing is that Chelsea decided to build out of the back still, despite being a man down and a goal down. They were taking massive risks, and here you get Caicedo with the ball. He's got Mbeumo closing him from behind. The ball goes into Jorgensen, who does a pretty nice chip, to be frank, into the feet of Chalobah. And look, they did get out of this, and the ball goes to Joao Pedro. He spins two players and gets away. But this is the key part for Chelsea. Joao Pedro looks up here and just sees there's 70 yards between him and the goal and a bunch of Man United players. So then he's like, well, where's my support? Looks to the side. There's just no way I can find anybody here. I am going to get squeezed out. So he has to turn around. And that really was the pattern for Chelsea. When they won the ball, there was no out ball. Joao Pedro would charge forward and just not be able to make anything happen. Now, Sanchez obviously was a problem on the first goal. Jorgensen on this second one, I don't know what he was doing. Look, this ball gets played back to Mazraoui, and Mazraoui just launches it up the pitch. It's not even close to Sesko. Now, look at Jorgensen. Just drop back. The ball is bouncing towards you. Just keep it close to you and just back up into your box and pick it up. Instead, he decides to start playing soccer tennis, and he tries to lob the ball to Tosin, but he overcooks it, and it goes right to Mbeumo. So now Mbeumo's got it, plays a little underlapping pass to Sesko. So Man United have a corner. The ball gets played into Mazraoui, and he crosses it. And look at Jorgensen here. Starts to go for this ball, and then realizes at the last minute, oh, maybe not. But now it's Reece James to take a little bit of blame, because look at this. I mean, there's no one near him. And he hits this ball off of his shin and just puts it into orbit. Thing comes back down with snow on it. And take a look at Luke Shaw. He's like, I'm going for it. Caicedo doesn't block him off. Jorgensen, the guy who can put his hands up in the air, doesn't, and stands on his line. Luke Shaw goes and climbs on Harry Maguire, wins the header. It goes to Casemiro, who puts it in, and it's 2-0. Now, Chelsea would get a massive lifeline. Casemiro would get himself red carded, which was just absolutely stunning, and the game immediately changed, like right away after that. Man United's pressing stopped. They just started to back off and go, okay, we're going to protect this 2-goal lead. So Enzo Maresca at halftime decides, not going to change anything. Formation stays the same as the way we went out. Now let's outplay them. So that's fine, but there needs to also be an impetus. What are we going to try to do to get past them? And this is, I think, Enzo Maresca's second mistake, not sending out the team with very clear instructions of how they could create chaos for United. Because at this point, the crowd was tense and the players were too. And we could have leaned into that, but Maresca didn't. So here's a clear moment of what needed to happen. Chalobah has this ball and he plays it across to Fofana. Now, as Fofana gets it and looks up, he should give it to Reece James. Reece James is the wingback. He is the most isolated player on the field, really. He has the most amount of space, and he has Patrick Dorgu all by himself. And if the ball goes to him, then Enzo Fernandez can make a run in behind, maybe drag De Ligt with him, and maybe that opens space for João Pedro to check in. Something like that. Just play the ball. But Fofana decides to go backwards. Now, take a look at Fofana and his positioning here. Where he is, take a look at the cut of the grass. Okay, so he goes away, back to Tosin. It goes to Chalobah. Chalobah has the exact same decision he can make right here. Instead, he turns and looks inside, but that ball should have gone out to Cucurella. Again, it opens up the space for, this time, Andre Santos to make a run in behind. If he gets followed, space opens up, João Pedro can check in. That is the pattern that they want to do. Not go back and forth, because now look at Wesley Fofana. Oh, look, he's lost 20 yards. And now he doesn't have a forward pass, so he goes backwards again. And Tosin now thinks he's clever. He's like, oh, I've seen the ball. I'm going to split the entire Man United midfield and go into João Pedro. Yeah, except he's not expecting this at all, and so it's a turnover. But the other thing is, you've got to reward runners. Here, Enzo Fernandez gets the ball, and João Pedro is starting to make a run. Okay, Enzo, shift it onto your left and chip it over Luke Shaw. Because João Pedro's making the run, and it's Harry Maguire he's running against. Instead, you don't. So João Pedro's a little annoyed. Now, look, as this ball gets recycled a couple times out here, it goes to Reece James, and now look at Enzo Fernandez. He starts to make this run. João Pedro's actually making the run down to channel to open this space, but again, no one does it. They just go backwards, and now you got Enzo Fernandez annoyed he didn't get the ball. Now, one player I think who had a good showing in the second half was Andre Santos. Here he is receiving the ball, quickly playing a ball forward into João Pedro, who turns, gets it into Fernandez, and now Reece James is going forward. And this is where Chelsea were going to have their best luck. Playing fast balls forward, getting on the turn, and then trying to get your wing backs into the play and into these positions. Because when you can play balls across like this, you can cause a lot of problems. There, De Ligt clears it out, and then we would have some substitutions. So Fofana and Cucurella come off. Gusto goes to left back. Tyreek George goes up front. And there was a change of shape here. That's why I point this out. Because Chelsea now went into a back four. That meant that only Tosin and Chalobah were the two center backs, Caicedo as the holding midfielder. He's got Andre Santos, Enzo Fernandez, and João Pedro. And the whole idea was that they would overload Man United's three midfielders. So you could overload them in the middle, and that was happening. Andre Santos here receiving the ball, getting it out to James, and being able to run. Now you got Enzo Fernandez picking it up with time and space. I think this was a pretty decent move by Maresca. What I love, though, is Andre Santos, again, coming in and not wasting time. Immediately looks up, plays the ball out wide to Reece James. Reece James brings it down and tries to cross it in. Now it gets blocked and goes out for a corner, and this is where the ball will get played to Reece James, and he puts in an absolute dime of a cross. Chalobah plonks the header right into the bottom corner. Chelsea are back in it. And this was just too infrequent. Just getting the ball to Reece James and having him whip one across, because this cross is absolutely fantastic. Bayendier is the one that gets the hand on it, but it's the second balls. Like, remember, Cole Palmer scoring against Brentford, it's a cross. João Pedro, I guess, wins the header, but it's a knockdown. And when you get knockdowns, you have good chances. And look, that was one of the only ones of the game. Man United would clear and end up winning. So what was disappointing is that it felt like there were opportunities, but to take off your fastest player in Pedro Neto, I think was an absolute disaster. And I don't necessarily think Chelsea were helped much by actually matching Man United's formation. And then the second half, to me, is just an opportunity missed. We played like the game was level. Like, we didn't play like we were 2-0 down. And I just think that that was the missed opportunity because Man United and their fans were really tense. So on we go. It's been a tough week. We'll see how it goes next time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Sebastian North. This is the Chelsea Campfire. Let me know what you think. Take it easy.